President Trump's new communications director is claiming to be the victim of an illegal leak. After Anthony Scaramucci's financial disclosure form appeared on Politico's website last night, Scaramucci tweeted that he would be contacting the FBI and the Justice Department, calling the leak a felony. He ended that tweet with a reference to White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. Here's how Scaramucci addressed that controversy in an interview this morning.
Now, if you want to talk about the chief of staff, we have had odds, we have had differences. When I said we were brothers from the podium, that's because we're rough on each other. Some brothers are like Cain and Abel. Other brothers can fight with each other and then get along. I don't know if this is repairable or not. That will be up to the president. But he's the chief of staff. He's responsible for understanding and uncovering and helping me do that inside the White House, which is why I put that tweet out last night. When the journalists who actually know who the leakers are, like Ryan Lizard, they know the leakers. Jonathan Swain at Axio, these guys know who the leakers are. I respect them for not telling me because I understand and respect journalistic integrity. However, when I put out a tweet and I put Reince's name in the tweet, they're all making the assumption that it's him because journalists know who the leakers are. So if Reince wants to explain that he's not a leaker, let him do that.
Okay, to break it all down, let us bring in Olivier Knox. He's the chief Washington correspondent for Yahoo News, and he joins me now from Washington. So, you just heard what Anthony Scaramucci had to say. He didn't exactly come to the defense of Reince Priebus. He sort of started out by saying, oh, I just put his name at the end of the tweet because, you know, he's the one that would help me stop all the leaks. And then he kind of made a left turn and said, but hey, if you suspect he's the leaker, maybe there's a reason. What do you make of that?
Yeah, when you're comparing your relationship to somebody else to the relationship between Cain and Abel, you know, things are not going hunky-dory inside the West Wing. You know, this is really interesting because Anthony Scaramucci's clearly been brought in as kind of a reset for this White House. His nominal title is communications director. He's clearly playing a different role here. For one thing, he doesn't report to Reince Priebus. He doesn't report to the person who in a different White House would be his boss. He reports directly to the president. He's been very clear that the president has empowered him to do this leak hunt. And all of this has put him in sort of a position of being a rival to Reince Priebus, not a staffer who reports to him. And that's the dynamic you're seeing playing out here. It's also part of a longer dynamic, which is the tensions between sort of the Donald Trump inner circle, the loyalists, the people he's known for a long time, and the sort of establishment Republicans who were brought in to the campaign because there was no campaign machinery, and then were brought into the White House. So the people like Reince Priebus or outgoing press secretary Sean Spicer, those kinds of folks.
So in that interview this morning, we heard Scaramucci say that he has a very good idea of who the senior leakers in the White House are. That's his thing lately, that it's the senior leakers that are giving the okay to more junior members to leak to the media. So what comes next then? Are heads going to roll, and are they going to be rolling at a higher level?
Well, Scaramucci's already pushed out a junior staffer, an assistant press secretary, Mike Short. It's not really clear how much head rolling there's going to be completely honest. The president is out there publicly disparaging his attorney general, but refuses to say whether he wants him to resign or that he'll fire him. So he's content to let his attorney general kind of twist in the wind there. I don't know that heads are going to roll. Every week since January 20th, we've seen news reporting, oh my goodness, the knives are out for so-and-so. So-and-so is on the downs, on the outs with the president. I tend to take sort of a wait-and-see approach to this because we've seen this spun out so many times. On the leak points, first of all, the disclosure to which he referred yesterday wasn't actually a leak. It's a publicly available document. Yeah. It is a financial disclosure. So it's not. It was available, I think, as of July 23rd. So it's not that actually wasn't a leak. It actually wasn't a felony. And if you look at the Justice Department statement today, it refers to leak investigations more broadly. There's no commitment to go after this particular disclosure, and that's because it wasn't actually an incident of law breaking. Yeah. In terms of knowing who the leakers are, look, one of the reasons that being communications director for this White House is an absolutely impossible job, as the previous title holder found out, is that essentially every one of President Trump's senior aides and advisors thinks that they're their own communications director. Every reporter who covers this White House day to day has received at least one phone call from a senior official not technically empowered to speak to the press, which is great for reporters like me. It's wonderful to be able to go around the communications shop. But obviously it poses certain problems for message discipline because each one of these people is defending their own point of view and defending their own corner of the West Wing.
Yeah. So can you put this in perspective or historical context for us? Is this administration leakier than other administrations?
Well, there are two kinds of leaks that have affected the Trump administration. One is the series of national security and so either intelligence or law enforcement leaks. You know, a lot of stuff connected to what I'll just describe as the Russia story. That's one kind of leak. The other kind of, and that I haven't seen that level of leaking in my 2 decades as a reporter. The other is kind of the palace intrigue stuff. So and so has a cute nickname for so and so, which is kind of silly, schoolyard kind of stuff. That is also at levels that I haven't seen before. I don't think I only covered the last 2 months of the Clinton White House, so I can't judge them. The George W. Bush folks were pretty buttoned up. There weren't that many leaks there, and the Obama folks were the same way. So I haven't seen anything like this, either on the sort of the serious leaks, which are the ones about national security, and the kind of palace intrigue, nanny boo boo stuff that you see every day coming out of the White House.
Yeah. You mentioned the Justice Department's plans to investigate some of these leaks. This is coming at a time when the president has been very critical of Jeff Sessions. Is this an attempt by the Attorney General to appease or please the president, do you think?
We've been talking about going after leakers for months, though. This isn't that new. It clearly is on the president's mind. He specifically referred to the intelligence community leaks the other day in the Rose Garden as a reason he was dissatisfied with Jeff Sessions' performance as the Attorney General. So maybe, but it's not like Jeff Sessions has not announced this kind of stuff before. So a little caution is due here, I think.
Okay. Olivier Knox of Yahoo News, we appreciate your time, Olivier.
Thank you very much.